Welcome to the Clemson Insider Tiger Talk, Tuesday Tiger Talk. Gavin, I guess that's what it is. I'm Will Vandervoort. This is Gavin Oliver. As we kind of give you the spiel of what's going on around Clemson from media press conferences for the last 2 days. And so we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Gavin and Coach Sweeney met with us today, and I was a little surprised that he spent more time today on Charlotte than he did on Syracuse last week. Were you a little kind of taken back by that too?
Yeah, I was too. I was thinking going into it about how we maybe have one or two, the opening statement and then maybe one or two questions about it, but he talked more than I thought he would. He did say a couple interesting things about Charlotte. Of course, he hyped him up a lot, maybe more so than they deserved, but that's nothing new with Dabo. But I think one thing interesting he did say is their number 5 on defense, Alex Highsmith, he compared him sort of to Xavier Thomas. So that's something for Clemson fans to watch out for if you're looking for an interesting matchup to watch. Yeah. Alex Highsmith, number 5 for Charlotte. He is a physical, fast guy, disruptive. Sweeney says it's the best player that they've seen so far this year to this point. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I thought so too. And, I think Highsmith is number 4 in the country or something like that in sacks right now coming into this game. Them as a team, I think they're ranked in the top 5 in total defense. Yeah. They're averaging 47 points a game, and Dabo says this will be the most difficult offense they faced yet. Most explosive is what he said. Most explosive offense they faced to this point. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. I'll take Dabo's word for it right now, but I really don't know if all that's going to translate. Yeah. Let's see who they've played. I think that's part of it. They haven't played the number 1 ranked team in the country. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it is Dabo being Dabo. Right, he's going to talk up the opponent.
Yeah, I can understand maybe saying Charlotte's more explosive than Georgia Tech. That new look offense has transitioned from the triple option to the spread. I can understand that. And, maybe even Syracuse with the struggles they've had this year. But I don't know. If Texas A&M, are they really more explosive than Kellerman and company at Texas A&M? I don't know. We'll see on Saturday, I guess. But that's Dabo for you.
That's exactly. Now, you wrote a piece today that's up on the website talking about Dabo was asked about, every time we talk to a player, they always talk about they want to leave no doubt. Tanner Muse, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, they've all said it. And so today Dabo was asked about why do these players keep saying it, and what was his response?
Yeah, he was kind of asked about the origin of where it came from, and Dabo, where the leave no doubt saying came from, and Dabo basically said it's sort of a product of kind of who they've played this year so far. You think about the schedule. They start off with Georgia Tech and then Texas A&M. Last year in College Station, it was a 28-26 final score. It took a 2-point conversion attempt that failed, a Kayvon Wallace interception to seal that one in the final minutes. And the Tigers missed several opportunities down the stretch of that game to close out the Aggies earlier in that game. And so this year going into Death Valley, they really wanted to leave no doubt. And the last year they didn't. They left a lot of doubt about who was. They escaped with a victory, but it wasn't very convincing. This year they wanted to convincingly show who was the better team, and 24-10 victory. The score didn't really indicate just how dominant Clemson was against Texas A&M. So indeed, they left no doubt against the Aggies this year. And Dabo even admitted that part of the reason they wanted to leave no doubt against A&M was in the week leading up to the game, the smack talk, the public smack talk, as Dabo called it, from the Texas A&M guys, basically guaranteeing that they were going to go into Death Valley and pull off the upset. That really fired up the Tigers too internally, and
exactly.
Made them even want. Not only last year's game made them want to leave no doubt, but also the fact that they were talking so much smack leading up to the game made them want to leave no doubt. And then, that was one opponent that they played this year. And then Syracuse, the last 2 years, you go on the road to the Carrier Dome in 2017 and lose. And then 2018, it takes a Chase Bryce miracle pass to T. Higgins on 4th down to get it done. So they really wanted to, again, go back to Syracuse this year and get it done and leave no doubt again. And they've been able to do that so far this year. Dabo basically says, mission accomplished is what we've been able to do. So that's kind of been a product of the schedule. The opponents that they played this year is one of the reasons that leave no doubt mantra has been a common theme.
Yeah, and they're going to have to leave no doubt for the rest of the season because of who they play. If they want to hold on to that number 1 position.
Right.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, eventually Alabama's going to jump them because Alabama's got to play LSU. I don't think so, because right now Clemson is so far ahead of Alabama with first place votes. Yeah. It's going to cost. The only way I can see that happening is if Clemson struggles a game or two against some of these lesser opponents that they're going to play, and doesn't dominate, leave no doubt, if you will. And I just don't see that happening. As long as Clemson continues to play the way they've been playing. I think they gained votes this week They gained another first place vote. They've gained first place votes every week since the first poll. So obviously the Leave No Doubt is working, and I think that'll continue throughout the year regardless of what Alabama does. I don't think Alabama's going to jump Clemson just because Alabama's got to play in the SEC West like a lot of people think. And I think Alabama's going to lose, but we've been down that road before. But anyway, Dabo also talked about Trevor Lawrence and said he wasn't really concerned about Trevor Lawrence, the interceptions at all. Kind of going with what Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott has said in the last few days as well, that that Trevor's he likes to take some chances. That's going to happen. When you got a quarterback like that, he knows how good he is. He's confident in his ability, so he's going to take a little bit more chances than the average quarterback will. Also, though, Dabo admitted that though some of the interceptions were Trevor, two of them he knows exactly weren't Trevor's. They were both on the wide receivers. One being T. Higgins last week. Said T. Higgins didn't set himself up properly or position himself to go get that ball. Trevor had the right read, threw it where he's supposed to, trusting his guy's going to go make the play. He said that's on T. Higgins, not on Trevor Lawrence. And the other was against Georgia Tech where their splits weren't correct, and that led to that interception. So he's saying basically 3 are on Trevor, 2 are on the wide receivers. It happens. He's like, mistakes are going to happen, but nothing that they're concerned about with Trevor Lawrence at all. Everybody's all in an uproar. What's wrong with Trevor Lawrence? Nothing's wrong with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, to me, he's calling the game better than he was last year. And what I mean by that is everybody's so enamored with the passing game, and they look at that, but that's not what the quarterback does. He does everything. He gets the offensive set. He gets the offensive line set. The way he moves around, extends plays in the pockets, the zone read plays. Trevor's been keeping the ball a lot this year, which is what they wanted him to do. Look he's got 3 rushing touchdowns this year. People aren't talking about that. That matches what he did all of last year. So I think he's calling the game. That's going to open up the running game here in the future, and there's no doubt in my mind. So you're going to see Etienne start putting up even more and more yards because people got to respect Trevor Lawrence in the running game now.
Yeah, you mentioned how he's getting a lot of outside criticism, and everybody's all seem to be worried about Trevor on the outside. But Dabo internally is like, hey, I'm kind of glad he's facing a little bit of adversity. I don't mind it because it's good for him. And he says, Dabo says, I have no doubt that Trevor will respond to it. So Dabo's clearly not worried about it.
No, not at all. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say another thing Dabo talked about today was the big movie.
That's what I was going to get into. Big movie. If you all don't know, Ray McElrathbey, who played at Clemson from 2006 to 2008. There's being a movie made about him. The interesting part, Gavin, was that it took 12 years for them. This movie, the guy saw it. The producer came in and spoke to us today, and he saw it when they had Ray was the person of the week on ABC Evening News, and he said, man, this is a compelling story. He got in touch with Ray, talked about maybe doing a movie then, and so they've been in 12 years trying to get this thing to the theaters or just made. And so they finally got it made. It's going to be a Disney movie. And they're in Clemson. They started actually on Sunday filming some scenes down in Death Valley. You might have saw them down there. They're going to do some more on game day. So he's asked you to please stay in your seats and don't leave at halftime because they got 6 minutes to film it and they want the stadium full. He said that his same people did Rudy, and he's like, the thing about made Rudy so cool was how the stadium was packed. It was that time of year and it just looked really good, and it just worked perfect with the scenes of the movie. And so he wants the same thing with Death Valley and thinks the Clemson people will do that. And also keep in mind, guys, in 2006 there was no cell phones. Or smartphones. Okay, so there were cell phones, but there was no smartphones where people weren't doing videos every second. So try to make this look as realistic as possible, like it's 2006, and try not to film it the entire time you're watching it. Try to actually sit back and enjoy this experience and maybe remember it up here in your head. It's a whole lot better. You remember it more when it's in your head. So that's one of the things, and it's pretty cool. But they're going to run down the hill 30 seconds after halftime. So right when the Tigers go into the locker room, the fake team's going to run down the hill. There's 200 extras. There's 100 for the Clemson team, and there's 100 for the Florida Atlantic team. They're going to reenact a couple plays from that 2006 football game against Florida Atlantic. So They're going to be real fast. They're going to be in and out of there in 6 to 8 minutes. So stay in your seats and do that. And then the band will play after that because the band wanted to make sure they were still going to get to play, Gavin. So the bands will play, and it's not going to affect the football operations at all on game day. So sit back and enjoy a pretty unique experience. I think about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a really cool showcase for Clemson's atmosphere and the tradition of running down the hill. And the producer said that Clemson alumni, they're going to be proud of when they watch this movie.
It is. It's a movie. It's not about. It's a movie about Ray Ray and his brother Famar that he took guardianship over when he was here at Clemson.
Right.
But it's going to talk about how great some of the Clemson people were, and Coach Bowden, and even the NCAA for allowing him to be able to receive help so he can take care of Famar, and that was it's a great it's a good movie, and Clemson's going to be all over it, and it's going to be good for Clemson. So it's not like people are just coming to use Death Valley. No, it's going to be about Clemson, and that's what's going to be so cool about this movie.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it. 12 years in the making. I mean, it's going to I'm excited to see when the final product what it looks like.
Absolutely, I love movies anyway, so I'll be watching it.
Yeah.
So will Boatsy.
I'll have my big large popcorn for this one.
So we'll have a viewing at Boatsy's house. That's what we'll do. So anyway, that's all we got for this edition of Tuesday Tiger Talk. Make sure you stay tuned all week to the Clemson Insider. We'll have all kind of content getting you ready for this week's game against Charlotte.